Oh, bloody hell. I'm definitely still the mayor. I'm definitely. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Thfc Till I Die, from past to present. And excuse me, I'm having a mare today. I had a mare in the earlier show with Ellie, and it's run into this show as well. So it's been one of them days. Yeah, good evening. Welcome to the show. And tonight we're letting Philip off the leash. We're taking the dog collar off, we're taking the straps off, we're letting Philip go full throttle tonight because we're talking about his favourite subject, and it's FIFA. And we all know what Philip thinks about FIFA. So tonight Philip will be unleashed for the first time. Now, how that will go, nobody will know. If we're taken off after 5 minutes, or there will be lots of it for us. But anyway, we are going to talk about the World Cup, about Qatar, the rights and wrongs of it, how they got it, why they got it, should they have got it? If not, then who should have got it? But so tonight, joining me usually is my co-host, Queen Ellie Hoybier, who's a star in her own right. Yeah. She's even got a flashing light over her head to actually prove that she's an angel from Spurs.
It must be the connection. I don't know. The electrician came. He said he fixed it, but he hasn't. So he's not a very good electrician. I'm not getting him back.
No.
He didn't charge me any money.
He looks better.
Yeah.
I feel a bit better. Yeah.
Oh, no. He looks better. He says he feels better. It's the Godfather himself, Philip. How are you, Philip? And great to have you back.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to this one.
Sorry, yeah, I got to.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. There'll be some controversial comments, I believe.
I thought you might be.
Just one or two. Yeah, one or two.
Yeah.
Well, three, maybe.
That's what we live for. That's what we live for.
We do have to bleep. We've got the. Yeah. We've got the bleep in case. Anyway, let's see who's in the chat tonight, and then we'll see who's in the chat. Big up Andrew Gregory as well. Big up Andrew. He's so well. Yeah, we're all grand. Thank you very much. We have Shamu Van Spurs, actual person that comes on and does watch-alongs with us, and who texts me at all hours of the night from New Zealand about FIFA 23 and the plays he's picked. And how are the new cats getting on? Let me know, Shamu. Shamu got the 3 of the gorgeous new cats. They rarely are. But let me know how they're getting on. It says corruption is how they got it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then Rob Belshaw. Again, thank you so much, Rob, for donating to the charity stream as well. It's very kind of you, as well as Philip, as well as
very
Eddie.
Nice.
And he says, I hope you're feeling better, Philip.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah. And then before we get into it, and then he does say at the bottom, he says, Philip does it first. No.
That might change.
Poetry. Man actually says nothing, just says word.
Did you hear that, Dermot? I said Philip doesn't do poetry.
No, don't do poetry. Definitely not poetry.
No.
Only do his voice. I'm in a cheeky mood tonight.
Shamu, who says, I wish he says, they're mine. I wish I just visited them. Don't think I could afford that many ragdolls. Well, that's true, Shamu. That's true. Right. Shall we crack on with the show? This is going to be a good one. I can feel it. Right. We'll just give you a bit of a history down history lane. Back in 1904 by 6 football organisations. And the first president was Robert Guran. Now, these are the first 5 presidents. Now, up to then, the United Kingdom, the English FA did not want to know FIFA for 20-something years. It was a crap organisation. England invented football, and that was it. Their arrogance, we don't want to be a part of you. Well, they did end up being a part of FIFA. So there were the first 5 presidents. The most important president out of the whole lot is number 3, is Mr. Jules Rimet, who was the FIFA president at the very first World Cup, which was held in Uruguay in 1930, on which the Cup was actually named after.
In
1970,
the original trophy was Jules Rimet. The present one is
first 5 there. 5. Yeah.
The original one was found by a dog, wasn't it?
The present one's not, Philip, you're right.
Yeah, it was found by a dog called Pickles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
dog
was
Pickles, yeah.
Pickles. Yeah,
Go on,
was
Pickles.
that 66, Philip?
66, yeah, just before the World
That
Cup
was in
was
66.
starting. And it
I
was
was
very
only 4.
embarrassing, the fact that the trophy were missing in London, you know, and
Yeah.
got it back in time. But the dog was a hero.
The dog was
Yeah,
a
he was.
hero.
So they were the first 5 presidents. You had a Frenchman, an Englishman, a Dutchman, a Frenchman, a Belgian, and an English fella. So that was the first 5. Then I can see Philip licking his lips here. Then we had the standing acting president because the one before had died in office. Then we had Sir Stanley Rouse, who was FIFA president from 61, who still over 3 World Cup. No, hang on.
I remember him.
62, 66, 70. 73 World Cups, well, 4 if you class 74. And then Philip's best friend came in, Mr. Joe Havelange, who was the Brazilian president of the Brazilian FA. And Philip, I'm just going to let you take over now about this man, because he was, I think for me, this is when corruption started in FIFA, wasn't it? Well,
I'll go back a bit further than that just to start. Stanley Rouse was the real old school Thai type of English person who, good, and good for him. He was in charge of FIFA when England won the World Cup, but he was the last of the old school. It's when he departed the scene in 1974. He gave way to the Brazilian Havelange, who set out on a 24-year rampage through the finances of FIFA and various other things. He was. I was just checking up on him today. He lived to be 100 years of age. He died 100 years and 3 months old in 2016.
Yeah. So he got his telegram from the Queen then.
He did. Well, he got from the Brazilian president anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just checking something on here. In all fairness to him, he did build up world soccer. When he took over, I think it was just before the World Cup that Germany won when they beat Holland, and Havelange took over. But he kind of drove a coach and horses through the whole system. Like up to then, it was very much the old boys network. Everything was done very precisely. And if I can just read out something that it says here on his Encyclopedia Britannica. Oh, sorry, his Wikipedia page here. Hold on then. Yeah, he brought his son-in-law, Ricardo Teixeira, into the fold, right, as a wingman. And it's estimated that between them, they took £21 million in bribes to award tournaments here, there, and everywhere. Favors offered, marketing rights, the whole thing. If you wanted something done, I think even he was involved in I think Nike paid the Brazilian FA, or sensibly Havelange, something like 40 million to be kept on as the kit supplier to the Brazilian team. They were the type of deals that he was getting involved with, And what did I just see now? What else? When he resigned, he he was a brilliant businessman. I have to say, to get away with it for that long, right? And without any real checks and balances to haul him in, he really did get away with murder. But it's really I'll go back to Havelange. The fun really started when his successor, Sepp Blatter, took over. And Sepp Blatter lived 17 years. He absolutely revolutionized FIFA into the next best thing to the mafia. Like the mafia are the #1 crime organization in the world. Maybe the drugs cartels are second, but FIFA is a very close third.
Yeah,
under Blatter.
I mean,
oh my God.
I mean, Ellie, you're a big football fan like me and Philip.
I am.
I mean,
I love it.
You're sitting there, right? You're listening to what Philip said, right? And Sepp Blatter was Joe Havelange's general secretary when he was president. So it was basically shoehorned to get the job. But did you know the first deal they made when Havelange was FIFA president, Ellie, was with Adidas for the '78 World Cup. They met in a car park, did the deal under a bench table in a car park somewhere in Switzerland, applied the raise, everything for kids. Now, you as a young footballer growing up in England, right?
Yeah.
Was there any such thing back then when you were a fan? And maybe Philip as well, go to him after this, about FIFA and corruption. How did you think FIFA worked? Did you think they were above water, like above like pure as pure? Or did you think they just organised the World Cup, that's it? What did you know of FIFA growing up?
Well, my dad was quite a football historian as well, and all my family as well. So, like I said, I've got brothers who were feeding things down to me. Remember, I was only young, right? But by the time I got to a decent age where you've got a little bit of intelligence, you know, when you're 6, 7, 8, you're not really part. You're just arriving to the dinner table one time, aren't you? When your mum shouts you when you're playing football outside.
Yeah.
No, Mum, you know, you don't really get involved. But then by the time I got to about 11, 12, 13, I knew a little bit more. My dad used to feed me the information, and my brothers, they used to say a lot of derogatory words about them, you know, that they're criminals, they're like, they take up backhanders, brown envelopes. These innuendos, they were innuendos, but they were true. They were actually doing this. And it was such a corrupt organisation, like Philip said, second to the mafia, you know. So I had a black mark against them growing up. And then obviously as you get older and older and the news coming out about them got even worse and worse and worse, and you just form an opinion that they shouldn't be running football at all. You know, they shouldn't be in charge of anything really. They're so corrupt, you know, and then you just feel let down, because football's a beautiful game, and then you've got men in grey suits running it. And I remember watching an interview by Danny Blanchflower, and he actually does mention FIFA, but he also mentions Sidney Well. He says to Sidney Well, because obviously he was Tottenham chairman, you know, I've been gagged. I've been gagged. They don't want me to talk. And he said, well, in this meeting, it's got to be sacred between me and you. But then obviously he's not. Danny Blanchflower was a very outspoken footballer, and he was, because he's an Irishman as well. He's not going to hold his mouth. He's going to tell them as it is. And like FIFA should have been told, you're not doing right by the game. But nobody stood up to them, and they got away with blue murder. Yeah, that's how I saw it anyway.
Yeah. Going back to Havelange there. Havelange, probably one of his most infamous acts was there was a company formed in 1986 called ISL, International Sport and Leisure, and it was founded to get the marketing rights for the '86 World Cup, and Havelange was very much involved in this with a guy called Andre Goofy, I think it was, in some Japanese firm, right? It enabled. Got lots of money out of the 1986 World Cup, right? But they overpaid for sports rights, TV rights, and the whole thing. And in the 1990s, and declared bankrupt in 2001. Now, between '89 and 2001, ISL paid 185 million Swiss francs in commissions to sports officials and other people involved in marketing. And the judge in the German case that was taken against their bankruptcy called it bribery, pure bribery, not commissions, bribery. And I don't know if you've heard of an English investigative journalist called Andrew Jennings. God love the poor fella. He died earlier this year, but he's the one that opened the worms about.
He opened the can of worms against them. Yeah.
He wrote a book called Foul: The Secret World of FIFA, and he reckons that Havelange made more than 50 million. I said 41 million. It's gone up to 50 million now, through a company that he formed, a front company that harvested all the money for him. So Havelange lived, he lived to a ripe old age, 100 years of age, and basically he got away with it because he was never really charged about anything. Unlike his predecessor.
No, he wasn't.
Now, there's more about it there.
That's so true, Philip. Ellie, can you read this out for us? Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Ellie?
Right, so, yeah.
You there?
Of course I can. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Can you read that? Yeah, if you read that, and then I'll go to... Yeah, and then we'll go to Philip afterwards and get his thoughts on it first, and then you, Ellie.
This is all about the television rights. So television rights, in September 2015, Swiss public television channel SRF published that Blatter would have sold the 2010 and 2014 FIFA World Cup rights in North America for US $600,000, a small fraction of their market value. Torneos and Traffic, TNT, is a subsidiary of Fox International Channels since 2005, with investment since 2002. Is the same company involved in corrupt practices in the acquisition of rights to major South American football tournaments. Yeah.
Now, Philip, you were on about... I'll come to you in a minute, Ellie, on this as well. Philip, you're on about television rights. I mean... How does that make you feel? They were running a mockery.
Spurs get that much for a match that's on Sunday afternoon at 4:30. And there he was selling the entire rights for 2 World Cups for 600 grand. Now, I'm sure that might have been the official figure. I'm sure multiples of that were paid into a Swiss bank account in Mr. Blatter's name or somebody else's name, because that was just ridiculous, you know. But I said he would have. He didn't actually get doing it. But it's crazy. And as for Torneos and Traffic, they're a subsidiary of Fox International, which is owned by probably the most dangerous man on earth, Rupert Murdoch. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Rupert Murdoch wants to destroy democracy, and you know, he'll go about it whichever way he can. Corrupt practices are his password for what he does, that every day of the week. So I don't know too much about the South American football tournaments, but if Fox and Murdoch are involved, there's skullduggery going on somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, Ellie, I mean, you try to think that in any work of life that there's some balance, there's some honesty. But reading that, Ellie, there's no such thing as honesty with FIFA, is there?
No.
All set bad by
no,
the
there
looks of it.
isn't. No, there isn't. And like, he laughed all the way to the bank, didn't he? He like ripping everybody off, telling lies. You know, it's just awful to read every single like article you pick up about FIFA. There's not one positive one. And we're talking about football. This is the greatest game on earth. And we've got these men running at the greatest art and ripping us off. Because we're the football fan, we're there paying our money, and it's going into this big fund towards FIFA's coffers as well. They're not finding the money. They're obviously finding it from advertising as well. And like you said, Fox, but we pay our money. If we're not watching it, there's no Fox television. They're not going to be interested in televising it if there's one fan now, because they're not going to make money from it. So
that's true.
The fact, you know, if we withdrew, what we should have done at that time is boycott all matches, all World Cup matches, just boycott them all, you know, and make a stand against these criminals, because that's what they were. Yeah.
I mean, Ellie, I'll start with you first, and then Philip, I'll go to you then on this other one as well. It's about let me take that at the top, because that is, now I found this earlier and I read it and I sat there stunned. Reading do I put it in the show? Do I not put it in? Do I don't? And I thought, bugger it, I will. So I'm going to read this out, Ellie. After I've read it, Ellie, then you go first and what you think, and then Philip, it gives you time gives you both time to think and what you think of it. But anyway, this was the 10 million South African payment, right? In the wake of the corruption case, it was reported. Now, we have to say all this, what we say tonight, is allegedly. that there is proof, but there's no full proof that any of this happened. So we're saying allegedly. Allegedly, it was reported that in 2008, the General Secretary of FIFA, Ramon Vackel, was alleged to have transferred $10 million that had been given to FIFA by Donny Jordan, president of the South African Football Association, to accounts controlled by Jack Warner, head of CONTE. I will not pronounce it because I can't. The payment is key piece of the American prosecutor's indictment that accused Warner of taking a bribe in exchange for helping South Africa to secure the rights to host the 2010 World Cup. The payment from the South African Football Association had been intended to support the development of football in the Caribbean. 1.6 million of the South African payment was used by Warner to pay personal loans and credit cards, and further 360,000 was withdrawn by people connected to Warner. The Trinidadian supermarket chain JTA supermarket also received 4.86 million payment from FIFA payments. Ellie, I was stunned when I read this. I can see by Philip's face, I see by your face, you're stunned.
Yeah.
This was said on the Netflix program as well, by the way, which is FIFA Uncovered. Please watch it. It is brilliant. Ellie, what can you say to that? I mean, that's startling.
I know.
I mean,
it's just so,
1.6, let's do this bit, Ellie. 1.6 million of the payment was used by Warner to pay personal loans, credit cards. I mean, that was supposed to go towards development of football in Africa or in Trinidad in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
What do you say to that, Ellie?
Well, the thing what I say to that is, like, it's disgraceful, right? If that actually really happened, it's disgraceful, and these men that done it, they should be ashamed of themselves. I know they say it's allegedly happened, but there's a lot of evidence to prove that it did happen. So I think it's despicable. Like, you're taking money from South African kids who can have a future life in football, and you're using the name of football to make profits for yourself. And it happens a lot of the time in sporting events. This does happen, but not just football, other sports as well. But because football's our first love, isn't it, lads? So it hits us in the heart that these things are going on in those eras, and they're still going on to this day in present day football, because the World Cup has gone to Qatar. And you know, I just feel this very disappointed and despondent about it, because it's a game that we all love, and we don't want to see this. We want to be reading that they're pumping the money back into grassroots football and actually developing these countries to come up and like face the World Cup with a bit of pride that they've had backing from an organisation that was supposed to back them, you know, and they've let them down big time. I just think it's disgusting. Yeah, that's all I've got to say on it.
This is probably one of the worst examples of the corruption, because the payment was made in 2008, right? Now, South Africa was awarded the World Cup some years prior to that. I'm not quite sure when they were awarded it. So obviously it was a delayed payment when preparations had reached a certain stage. Now, just to clarify, that Jerome Valcke was the general secretary. He was actually convicted of corruption, bribery, and at present he's appealing the decision. He was kicked out of his job in 2015. But for a country like South Africa, which wasn't long out of apartheid, and literally they don't have the arse on their trousers down there, to give 10 million to a scumbag like Jack Warner to literally line his own pocket is, I think that's absolutely disgusting. You know, it's okay for the likes of Qatar and Russia who've got lots of money, but a country like South Africa, like I've been to South Africa and seen the poverty there, and around that time well, 2007 I was there. The poverty when you leave the airport is just disgusting. They're living in shanty towns. They haven't got running water. They've hardly got electricity. And there you have someone trying to, another one trying to better the country and give it a lift by getting the World Cup. But but for Warner and the likes of him to insist on this payment before giving them, or insisting on a promise to have will be paid the money before giving them the World Cup, is the lowest of the low and probably the worst example of corruption. And there's lots of them in the entire situation. I think that it's absolutely reprehensible what they did. And I'll give you a better one about Warner. When Warner was actually found out and arrested, he was using his 2 sons to launder the money, right? And when his 2 sons were arrested, they naturally went to the father. Dad, what are you going to do for us? Well, you're on your own, kid. It wouldn't even help them. That shows you what a reprobate he is. He's now still under extradition procedures from Jamaica to the USA. He can't leave home. Or if he set foot in America again, he's going to be lifted and jailed.
Yeah.
So, of all the Blatters and the Valkes and the Platinis and everything, I think Jack Warner is the worst of them. Absolutely.
Well, to be fair now to Platini, he has, I don't think to this day, he got 2 million from FIFA from Blatter, but I think that he got found not guilty in that in a Swiss
court, and Blatter is Swiss.
Yeah.
Very, very suspect that, I'm afraid. But anyway. Yeah.
Look, more to come on this, but believe me, there is more. And Ellie, I want to come to you next now. For me, the biggest joke of all, right? This for me is that, and I showed this to Philip, right? Ellie, I'll start with you first on this. I'll read out what I wrote down here, and I'll get your thoughts on it. I know what my thoughts are going to be in this, and definitely know what Philip's thoughts are going to be in this. But as a football fan from outside Ireland, I want to get your first reaction to this, right? The Football Association, the FAI, Chief Executive John Delaney, who's the biggest scoundrel this side of the water since anyone, was speaking on national radio after Blatter's resignation, recalled in 2009 when Blatter insulted Ireland in the aftermath of the Thierry Henry handball incident. I called him an embarrassment to FIFA and to himself. He called me over about that across the table like I was like I am talking to you with 1 or 2 expletives. That was in the room. He said, no one speaks to me like that. I said, well, I do. That was what Delaney said. And that was that in 2009. Delaney said of the handball incident, it's not about money, it's about the sporting integrity. In June 2015, Delaney confirmed that FIFA gave the FAI a loan of €5 million, which was in effect a payment not to proceed with the legal action over the handball decision and consequent elimination from the 2010 FIFA World Cup. The loan was written off in 2014. Look, Ellie, I'm going to have my say in this. Philip's definitely will have his say in this. Ellie, as an English fan, you look at this, what do you say to that? I mean, to give you a brief description, Ellie, Delaney's the biggest criminal Ireland. So I think he's bigger than the Kinnean gangs, I think, in bloody Ireland for the way he took money out of the FAI, totally bankrupted the organisation. What do you think to that? I mean, that's shocking, isn't it?
He basically rips the heart out of every Irish fan by doing that. Because, he sold it down the river to take his cut and run off with it. And it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment for, like when I saw Thierry Henry handball that I was so shocked because I would never have thought it of Thierry Henry. But then when you read about John Delaney, it doesn't pale in significance because he handballed it and he made the direct thing that didn't send Ireland to the World Cup. But for him to do that in your country's name, it's like this. There's no words to describe it, Dermot. It's sickening. it's bloody sickening what they done, you know. And like you said, you put it in a nutshell, didn't you, when you said he's the most corrupt man that Ireland have ever seen, you know, and he should be ashamed of himself to his own country as well. Yeah. So we're not saying anything that's not been said before.
I don't think he could be ashamed of.
Well, he's passed away now,
I
hasn't
mean,
he?
Philip, look. No, Delaney hasn't. No.
Oh, he's still alive,
no, I don't think he
right?
has.
Okay.
Philip, look. Yeah, Philip. You know how I felt the same to me that night in Paris, where we outplayed the French. Should have been qualified for the World Cup. Look, there's no point going over old ground, but what I just read out there tonight is a feckin' joke. And how much of that 5 million did he take allegedly?
Well,
I mean,
I think the worst part of the whole thing. The worst part of the whole thing. Well, the worst part wasn't so much what is down there about nobody speaks to me like that. That sort of crap. It's Blatter made a fool of the Irish Football Association at a meeting of FIFA by saying, they want to be reinstated into the World Cup. They want to be the 25th team in the 2014 tournament, and made a big laugh at it. And the whole place started laughing like hell. I don't blame Delaney for getting angry about it, but the threat of legal action, that was never going to succeed. I mean, when has anybody ever taken legal action about a soccer match, a handball in a soccer match? Not a hope of ever going through. It was just hush money, really. It was hush money to try and keep us quiet. I would say 3/4 of it or more probably found its way straight into John Delaney's back pocket. Okay, but the loan must have been given around 2010. It was given shortly after the match took place. And I think it was written off 4 years later, quietly written off by UEFA or FIFA, because they knew, A, they probably knew where the money went to, and B, they knew the Irish FA hadn't got the leg to start, hadn't any money, were broke because of the antics of the aforesaid Mr. Delaney. So it was a scandalous thing that went on. Blatter, if he just said nothing about it and left it, but to make a laugh of the Irish FA out of a match that we've been absolutely cheated out of, was very low. But then again, it's one of a low in a career of lows.
Yeah. I mean, Ellie, do you want to add anything more to that?
Yeah, just to reiterate what Philip just said, it's like you feel like your heart's been ripped out of your country. Like you get taken, the World Cup gets taken away, which is the biggest prize. You can, even if you play one match and you get the round matches and you get eliminated, you've been there, you've experienced it. To take it away from all those players who've worked all their lives to be footballers, they've trained, they've done blood, sweat and tears. To take that away for a backhander, you know, it's like, it's not only just not right, it's like you're ruining the dreams of men who've worked their socks off to get to that level. And to play France is no mean feat. It's hard to beat them, especially because they were going into their peak at the time. You know, and one handball ruined it, but really that handball was just a symbol. The actual thing, what they did after, is you can't put it into words. It's horrible. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
The worst thing about it is the handball was done by Thierry Henry, an Arsenal player. That made it even worse.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a double whammy, double stab to the bloody heart, isn't it? Like you get a handball against you, and then it's a gooner.
Yeah, it is. Well, we're going to bring it all the way up to 2015 now. Just that this is more like a background. I've got questions all about this. So once we finish, and please get your questions in from the chat as well. Get your thoughts in about this. How do you feel? Interact with us over this, because we want to know how you feel as fans from different countries that watch us here about this, and what do you feel about the World Cup, which we will go into. But anyway, the last bit of research I did in this now was on 27th of May during the FIFA annual meeting at the La Claire Hotel in Zurich, authorities charged 14 officials, including 9 current or former FIFA executives, including FIFA Vice President Jeffrey Webb, all face extradition to the United States. On the same day, the Swiss Attorney General's office said that the other FIFA executives were being questioned on suspicion of criminal mismanagement, money laundering. And not so long, on the 29th of May, yay, hey, he resigns after winning an election 2 weeks before, may I not add, his election. And then he decided, oh, I might have to resign. On the 29th of May 2015, Sepp Blatter won a re-election to the FIFA presidency at the 60th Congress in Zurich, in growing criticism over his position. 4 days later, however, he announced that he would continue as president only until the new election would be conducted at the 2016 FIFA Extraordinary Congress on the 26th of November 2016. Blatter said he would not be a candidate for the election at that time. Blatter maintained, "I did not resign. I put myself and my office in the hands of the FIFA Congress." Upon the decision of the FIFA Congress, the Independent Ethics Committee to previously ban Blatter, FIFA recognizes that Issa Hayatou as the interim president of FIFA in accordance with Article 32.6 of the FIFA statute. Then, of course, after that, the World Cup bid suspended World Cup bids on the 10th of June 2015. FIFA announced that they would be delaying the 2026 FIFA World Cup bidding process amongst allegations surrounding the bribery of the 2018-2022 World Cup bidding process. Secretary General Vaki stated that due to the situation, I think it's a nonsense to start any bidding process for the time being.
Yeah.
Ellie, I'll go to you first before I go to Philip. Look, Ellie, we've read through a lot, and there's more to come in as well when we get the questions up. But looking at that bit of a background, Ellie, from where FIFA was started with, it was there to join football in joy back in when it was founded in 1904. You know, it was supposed to be a family to just 74, the Adidas deal, and all the surrounded. I'm sure you two remember the Colonel Firstry surrounding the 78 World and then other World Cups. Look, for you, has the World Cup lost something, and does FIFA have to be dismantled for you to gain any trust or enjoyment in World Cups and World?
Yeah, it needs a complete overhaul, doesn't it? It needs a complete overhaul, and it needs to be started by people, a fresh start by people who actually love the game and not love the smell of the lira. You know, because that's how it's been run. The proof is there in the pudding. You know, you want people that actually genuinely love the game. Like I mentioned, Danny Blanchflower. What a fantastic servant! What a brilliant player! You know, and you get these sort of people should be running football. People who've played the game. They know about what it's like to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go training with the snow coming down or the rain coming down, and on those pitches. You know, this is where football is born out of working class and some middle class boys play it. You know, we can't say all working class, but it's like a grassroots from when they're little, and it's run by corrupt people that are stealing a living from the game. They're living off the name of the game because they know how popular football is, and it's devastating to think that they've benefited by millions and millions and millions of pounds when the footballers back in the day, they should have taken hold of it. Really, they should have protested more like Danny Blanchflower did, because he was very, very outspoken. And they tried to gag him. They even tried to gag him at Spurs. You know, like, this is where you do a crossover. You look at who was running football and who should be running football. Right, people who love the game, and and they're not going to steal any 1 penny from the game. It's all going to go back in to build the game even stronger. Yeah.
Do you know what's wrong? We've missed something else here. We have to go back to it. The reason all these court cases and raids came about was there was an American representative of CONCACAF called Chuck Blazer. Now, Chuck Blazer was a larger-than-life character. He was about 25 stone with a big bushy beard and wild hair. Now, Chuck Blazer was on the take from the minute he walked into FIFA. But he was rather forgetful, in so much as he came to the attention of the American IRS because he'd conveniently forgotten to ever, for the last 15 years, file a tax return. So when the IRS started digging into him, they saw these millions of dollars sitting in his accounts, and they couldn't figure out, well, this guy's never earned a penny in his life, according to himself. Where's he getting all the money from? So they did a bit of digging. The FBI got involved. They did a bit of digging. And one night when Chuck Blazer was out for dinner, a representative from the FBI and the IRS tapped him on the shoulder and said, Mr. Blazer, we'd like to talk to you. And he says, listen, it's like this. You either cooperate with us and blow the whistle on whoever is involved in this money-taking scheme with you, or you go to jail for between 70 and 100 years for tax evasion. So quickly enough, Chuck Blazer turned King's evidence, or Queen's evidence, if you like, and he was the whistleblower that put the finger on all the guys that were arrested in Geneva or Zurich, wherever that was, in 2015. He was suspended. He got a kind of a what would you say? He was never convicted of anything, and he died of cancer in 2017. But he was the guy responsible for all really the breakup of the cartel that was fleecing everybody. And I have to say, the current regime in FIFA, even though starting with Infantino when he came in, seems to be a lot cleaner. I don't think they can afford to have the same excesses that they've had in the past because people are watching. But up to 2015, it was literally who could dig deepest into the trough and pull out the money. And the funniest thing about that 2015 day when Sepp Blatter decided to step down, some fan came into his office or into the auditorium and showered him with a pile of dollars, and it's caught on film, and shouted something at him about "you corrupt bastard" or something like that, and walked out. So that's just a bit of background as to where we got to in the last slide there.
That was very good information there.
Ellie,
Philip. But I didn't know that, so it's educated
Ellie, can
me.
you just read out some of these? Can you read out some of these? Need to go and do something with in 2 minutes.
Chat? Yeah, of course I can. Rob Belcher's come in with saying at least. Yeah, Rob Belcher's come in saying at least the hand of God, Maradona, was by a great player and not a gooner.
Exactly.
He wasn't a gooner. He actually played for Spurs once. As Aussie's testimonial. Do you want to take the next one, Shamu?
With a last name like Blazer, it's not shock that he had a bad memory. You should look him up. There's a picture of him taken crossing the street in New York, and he's like one of these.
Look him up.
He's absolutely huge. Now he's literally as far forward as he is. He's as wide as he's tall, you know. But he's the guy that brought the House of Cards down.
He likes a few pork pies, then, didn't he?
He did.
Yes, and then we've got Bobsburg. Do you want to read that one out?
Need to watch what I say here, but I'm able to differentiate between human rights issues and football. Can I ask people, do you have issues who have issues with Qatar? Do you not watch Man City or Newcastle? Well, I have issues with Qatar, and I also have issues with Man City and Newcastle, especially Newcastle. Because bad and all as Man City are, they don't go around killing people like the Newcastle owners. So that's my answer to that one.
Yeah, there you go, Bob Spur. There's your answer. Right, Carl Simpson. Actually, I want to add something to that. I hate watching Man City. I will never watch them. The only time I watch them is when they play Spurs, and I have to because I love Spurs. Yeah. And Newcastle, they can do one.
I used to think Newcastle
were taking over our first spot.
Newcastle were, you know, I used to like them because it's 1969 since their last trophy. You know, that makes our trophy haul look absolutely brilliant compared to that. But they sold
Yeah,
their soul
true.
to the Saudis. They've sold their soul, and they will live to regret it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's so much corruption in football now. It's coming into our Premiership as well. It's always
Yeah.
been there, but it's even more heightened now. You know,
Exactly.
because even our own owner, you know, he can't hold his
You
head
know,
up high. There's some things
that's
he's done
my
as well. Well, we won't go into that. Right. So Bob Spurs says, need to watch what I say here, but I'm able
Yeah,
to differentiate between human rights. Oh yeah, we've done that one. And we've got Mark New. He's a lovely fella. Spurs always play by the financial fair play
I'm
rules.
back here now,
But
Ellie.
Chelsea,
I'll do
yeah,
that.
yeah. Go on then. You want to do that one?
No, go on, Ellie. Go on. You say, go on. You
All
start.
right.
Sorry.
So
No, you
Mark
do it.
New,
Go on.
I love him. I love him. He's from
You go
the
on.
Irish
You do it.
Hotspur. What a lovely guy. Very intelligent man as well. I love his comments. He's put Spurs always play by the financial fair play rules, but Chelsea, City, Newcastle, Barca and others break the financial rules and always got a free pass. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah,
Man
I
City.
hated when Man
Man
City did it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I hated when
that
Man
was done
City
by
got away with it.
FIFA's corrupt, well, not corrupt cousin, FIFA's cousin FIFA or UEFA, who let City
Yeah,
off.
yes.
You know, and we don't know why
I
that
wonder
happened.
how much backhanders they took.
Oh yes, that's it. That's it.
You know what I mean?
Of course, they didn't do it for nothing. That's for sure.
Yeah. No. Right. We've got a few questions, you, Ellie.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to you first. Happen in or around FIFA. Does it make you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, it does, because I don't like the fact that they're running football. You know, it's just like you want to enjoy the game, and then you know these people are running the game, and it tarnishes it. It tarnishes your, because you think, bloody hell, they're doing so many corrupt things to spoil the fun of the beautiful game. I'm here because I played football as a professional footballer, as a lady, and then you've got these guys, they don't even give ladies a second look. They would never have a lady in there. The only thing they'd have is a secretary, because they want to keep the... There's so many things corrupt, but when it comes to the ladies, I feel shocked that there's not been one lady representation in FIFA up high. You know, you've got the low ones, but up high. Like you said,
they did have one woman, Ellie. They did have one woman.
They had one woman among about 500, 600 men.
No, but she was brought in to look after the ethics and the way things were done. But again, she spoke out. She spoke out of what she found, and she was sacked. So
yeah, she got the job. Right. Yeah. So, do you know that lady's name, Philip?
It's on the FIFA documentary. I just can't remember it.
I'm gonna watch that because I haven't seen it yet. Because I'd be very interested to send her a nice email to thank her.
There's 3 or 4.
They booted her out then because she spoke her mind.
Extensively. She's interviewed quite extensively on the episode. So,
all right, what channel is it on? So I can catch it.
That Netflix.
Netflix. All right, I'm going to watch it tonight before I go to bed. Angela will have to vacate the room because I'm watching that. I just want to see what she's got to say, because I'd love to send her something, and praise the lady for going in there and calling them all out, speaking her mind.
Look, for me, it makes me very uncomfortable that these people just can do the same thing again and again and again and again and again. And why they get away with it? How they bribing, how to keep, you could go in there and bribe them with gold watches and cars. And look, Qatar, there was some rumor that Qatar would be gas at a cheap price to France, I think, to get their vote for the World Cup. But you, then I go to you. How should World Cups be handed out for 2030 and 2034? Do you know what and where? So what are your thoughts on how it should be done and where should they go? 34?
Is that for me? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start with
so
you,
you
then I go
Philip.
to Ellie.
And
Yeah,
just
that's
before,
fine.
I'm going to regress just a little bit before I answer that. There's one other bit I've missed out, which I think is this will show you how bad things were back in 2010, right, or 2011. There was a challenge to Blatter's by actually he was from Qatar, right, and the meeting was somewhere in Port of Spain in Trinidad, and there was a vote going on to see who'd be voted for the president, and the guy from Qatar called all the delegates up to his room and handed them 40 grand each and said, that's to develop football in your country. It wasn't an attempt to buy votes, according to him, but that's eventually what got him suspended. But it's so blatant. Imagine handing out 40 grand cash. Now, some of the delegations gave it back, but most of them kept it. And we don't know what happened to that money, but that was a Qatari that did that. So now look what happened. The ultimate end of that was they got the World Cup. Anyway, go on to this one. How should the World Cup be handed out for? Well, it's already been given out for 2026, and that was a reasonably popular decision to give it to the US, Mexico, and Canada. 2030, I think you made a good point earlier, Dermot. Well, I think it has to come back to Europe after being in Russia was technically Europe, but if it doesn't come to Europe, it should go to Uruguay because it's the 100th anniversary of the first World Cup back in 1930. So I think Uruguay or England should get those two World Cups. I think England deserve it. They haven't had it since '66. And the fact that they had a very, very good campaign the year Russia were awarded it, and they were absolutely gutted they didn't get it. But then again, we all know why that was. Russia bought the allocation. England didn't.
Yeah.
So so that's what it should be, I think.
I am going on to that. That's one of my questions on there.
So that's right. Put them anyway. Uruguay and England, maybe not in that order. But
you, where should the what about you, Ellie? Where should I go in '84? And how should the World Cups be handed out? How should it be done?
What was the first bit? Sorry, I didn't catch it because you were breaking up there.
And where?
What did you say? The first bit?
How should the World Cup be given out?
Should the World Cup be handed for?
Yeah. How should the World Cup be handed out for 2030? Well, first of all, they have to have,
and where? And where? And
first of all, they'll have to have a complete overhaul of who's running FIFA as well, and also get people in there that are going to make the right decisions without no backhanders. Football people, not businessmen. Real football people to run it, ex-players, people that have worked in the game as coaches, even referees you'd put on that board, because like at the end of the day, everybody is involved in the game should be running the game. It should be, it's our game, it's our beautiful game. They shouldn't take it away with rich businessmen who are just stealing from the game. They're stealing from the game because all that money they're stealing can go back into feeding football to make it great again, because it's lost its way with all this.
Can I just get in there a second, Ellie? Can I just get in there a second? There's one thing that might temper your answer there. I don't know if anyone knows this, but there is a cleanup going on in FIFA at the moment, because when Qatar was awarded, Russia and Qatar were awarded the World Cup, there was 23 people on the committee that awarded the World Cup. 22 of them have been sacked. There's only one left. So there is something going on. They are trying. Whether they succeed or not, we don't know. But normally that committee would sit forever and a day. They've all been removed because everybody knows the award was suspect. It was criminal and should never have been done. Sorry for interrupting you there.
Ellie, where would you want the 2013-34 World Cups to go? Where
in my back garden.
The 2013-20.
In my back garden, Dermot. That would be perfect for me. But seriously, I would love England to get it, obviously, and I would love Ireland to get it, and I would love Greece to get it, because Cyprus is a bit small. It wouldn't be able to hold the World Cup. But Greece, the Greeks invented the Olympics, so Yeah, there you go. It's an island of sport, really. So to win, I mean, they won the Euro 2004 as well when they were underdogs, and everybody didn't give them a help chance. So yeah, I would want those three countries first, because like Philip said, 1966 was the last World Cup, and we invented football over here. It's not fair that they haven't given it back to England, especially because the game is big over here. It's big bucks as well. All the investment from Sky goes into the Premiership, and even the Championship. You can put it on a par with the Portuguese and the French league. You know what I mean? It's just as good. But what I would say is make sure this clean-up actually is a thorough clean-up, and that, they come out smelling of roses, and that the house is put in order before the World Cup is given back to this country. Because at the end of the day, we did invent it. So, and we won it in 1966. So let's have it. Come on, people, make it happen.
That's a very good
point. And Ireland deserve it as well, because the Irish are brilliant.
Look,
like you said, you never beat the Irish.
Well, look, we've actually put in for the European Championships. England and Ireland have actually put in the joint bid for the European Championships. Hopefully we will get that.
It.
For me, 2030 should go back. 2030 should go to Uruguay, because that is 100th anniversary of the World Cup. It should go back.
That's true. I didn't think of it that way.
And 2034, look, I've got no problem of it going to England. I think England do deserve it. You haven't had it for a long time, so I think by rights you should have had a World Cup. You should have had the 2006 World Cup. That went to Germany. You should have got that World Cup by fair, and 2018 again. But look, it should go to them two countries. But let us know in the chat what you think. Where should it be in 2034?
Well, Carl Simpson's in the chat now.
Yeah, this one here. Now, for me, this one. Yeah, I know. I did see Ellie. With the World Cup being in Russia and now Qatar, what are your thoughts on the two hosts? Who wants to go first in this? Look,
let Philip take that one.
Right.
That's a lot
what do you say about Russia? Russia.
Yeah. Look, Russia should have. Sorry, Philip.
It's hard to know which is the more corrupt bid, because Russia probably was, because Russia's just corrupt from start to finish, and the fact that what they've done, they've reaped the reward now of invading Ukraine and having all their teams kicked out of Europe, and the team Russia not allowed to compete at the World Cup. So I mean, my thoughts of Russia are nothing but absolute disgust. As far as Qatar goes, they are so rich they don't know what to do with their money, and I'd say most of it found its way into Sepp Blatter's back pocket to get the World Cup. I'll reserve judgment to see how they run the World Cup. If they start arresting people for holding hands in public and drinking a beer, then I think there's going to be a huge outcry about it. I think that Qatar will probably regret they ever went for the World Cup, because their reputation is going to be ruined, and I can see it happening. I've just seen on TV.
To add something to that after.
I've just seen it tonight. They're selling they're like shipping containers. There's 2 beds in each of them, no bathroom, no mirrors, no air conditioning, no anything, and they're charging 150 a night for them. And each country has got their own section for the flags are up on it. I mean that's going to be warm. I mean, I know it's winter time, but it's still going to be 29, 30 degrees at night over there. So I think of the two, I'm going to say Russia is the worst for other reasons other than football, but Qatar is open to become the worst if they don't treat people right and allow people to do the normal things as you do. I mean, imagine going to a country told you can't drink in public, or you can't hold hands in public, and anything else will be hanging the fence. So it's too old school. It's too ridiculous for words.
Yeah, you've got women human rights as well over there, right?
Yeah.
Today they had the lady. Go on.
And I want to get out quick. Now go on, Ellie. Go on. It's fine. Go on.
No, I was just going to say the lady whose daughter got murdered and raped and murdered, came on national TV today to talk out about the World Cup, and she was all in favour for the World Cup to go ahead so that they can educate these people that have got these rules. And she was telling the story of her poor daughter who got raped and murdered, and the bloke that did it got his sentence reduced to 10 years. And it's so much bad human rights against women, especially. I mean, the men get it, but the women, like if you say like you're gay, holding hands, and they'll shoot you or kill you, whatever they do. But the fact that this woman lost her lovely daughter, and she came on national TV to say she doesn't want the football to be banned, she wants the footballers to send out a message. But will that message get across? That's the problem. Will it hit hard with the people that have got? Then I heard somebody else say, well, this is their religion. We can't go against their religion. That's how they are. You know, that's what they believe in.
There's another thing too last night on the documentary, which is very hard hitting when you see it. It went to Kathmandu airport in Nepal, where all these migrant workers are coming from, and there's certainly thousands of them died. Yeah. Qatar have admitted three deaths and 37 non-related deaths, which is, absolute joke. But anyway, this woman was waiting. She's 26 years of age, and she was waiting for her husband to come back from Qatar, because there's 3 flights a day into Kathmandu. Only problem is she was waiting for her husband's coffin. He died on constructing one of the tournaments or the stadiums, and that they showed coffin after coffin after coffin coming off the plane. And only 3 died.
See, it's 6,500 people, but that's a wider. It affected the families as well. It's sickening.
Nobody's taking responsibility. Qatar won't take it. FIFA won't take it. Anyway.
Yeah, go on, Dermot. You got to get in before we, because when you think of something and then you want to say it. But go on, Dermot. Go on, Dermot. Give your £5 worth.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Thank you very much.
It's true.
Look,
it's all right.
There's 4. I think that somebody today was looking at 420 million is what the World Cup winners will get for winning the World Cup. They're looking for that to put into a fund for all the people that died, that were injured during the work of the World Cup.
2 chances that ever happened.
Like Qatar should never have been the World Cup in the. You got to look at their human rights. You got to look at how they treat women. You got to look how they treat people. The LGTBA, I think it's called the LGTBA. I hope I got that right. You cannot give a country the size of as small as probably the same size as the bloody Isle of Wight, the World Cup.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's crazy. I mean, apparently they had a thing. Sorry, no, go on.
And for FIFA to give that country a World Cup stinks to high heaven. Now, look, there's a lot of people not watching it. I love the World Cup. I look forward to it every 4 years. It's a competition I love watching since I was a kid. Yes, I will be watching the whole World Cup, and you can call me a hypocrite because I probably am a hypocrite because I will be watching it. But goddamn, if anything comes out of that World Cup, Qatar, FIFA, Qatar, or anybody that's went in for that bid should be banned for life from anything to do with football, because their human rights against human beings is absolutely freaking atrocious. And it's about time FIFA, UEFA, whoever they are, get their priorities right. They should put football in footballing countries, not put the World Cup in to the company that come up with the biggest backhander. And this is what it was. It was the biggest backhander in human history. And it's about time FIFA, UEFA, whoever running these organizations should look at themselves in the mirror. And I hope Sepp Blatter can't sleep at night, because he'd given
He will.
it to a woman
That's the sleep
So he
with one
claims
eye
it
to look
open.
after their own
He claims
human
it was a
being.
mistake. He claims it was a mistake to give Qatar back. Did he get back the money he got? No. But Dermot, you mentioned there 480 million for the winner. There is more chance of Sligo Rovers winning the winning the Champions League than there is of that being given to the workers in Qatar. No, that's not going to happen. It's a great idea, but it's not going to happen, you know. And on the further thing, it's also been reported.
Can I just say, this is going to be rarely. I just want to say this point as well, and this is going to be really controversial, and this could get me into a lot of hot water, but I don't care. Hello, cat. Hello, pussycat. How are you?
Yes, my cat has joined us.
It's
My
like
ginger
giving.
cat. He's Stage
Right, I'm going to
George.
say this, and I'll probably get a lot of stick for this. I'll say it's like giving it the World Cup to Israel for what's happening between them and the Palestinians.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's a perfectly rational
the
statement.
way they treat the Palestinians.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a perfectly
like
rational statement.
And that's how I feel. No, a hypocrite for watching it. I'm a hypocrite for going to watch it. But it doesn't stop for how I feel, and how I feel that FIFA and the UEFA should be torn down and start again from scratch. As one organization that does everything. Have
you see the checklist.
But this World Cup was bought with blood money.
Yeah. You see the checklist that's done out for each country that applies for the World Cup. They're given that there's a checklist done. I understand that Qatar hardly ticked the boxes in any of the requirements. USA, Australia, the other countries that are all in, all ticked all the boxes, didn't get the decision. So it's just plain as a nose in your face. Money talks, and that's why they're getting it.
And you know what? The footballers just want to go and enjoy the football.
Are you going to watch?
They love football. And all the politics. They just want to turn up and play football. But at the end of the day, they could boycott it if they wanted to, if they really strongly believe, you know, that they want to go against that country's regime, you know, and how they run their country. But obviously, it's not strong enough for them not to go because they're all there. They've all turned up. Even Harry Kane said today, he said, I'm looking forward to the sunshine because it's bloody freezing in England.
Yeah, there's 8 captains. 8 captains have said they're going to wear the rainbow.
I just want to say something.
Yeah.
But Hugo Lloris is not going to.
I know, which I find surprising because he's very.
I just want to read something Carl Simpson's put here. Yeah.
I
just want to read something Carl Simpson's put here.
Yeah.
Have I just turned up? He says with a smiley face. Love the passion and the guts to bring this subject up. Look, it's something we've been talking about behind the scenes between the three of us, and we're not backwards and coming forward on this channel. If we'll speak our minds, and we would this. It may hurt, it may upset a few people. Well, look, it needs to be said. So, look, Ellie. I'm going to ask you a question. I did it on Twitter on will you watch the World Cup? While I found that poll, Ellie, you watching the World Cup? Yes or no? If it is, if you say yes, why? And no, and why?
Right, yeah. I will be watching because I love football, right? And I'm gonna still hate the fact that they've gone there knowing that all these things are happening in those countries, in this country, sorry, Qatar. But then I'm excusing them because they actually are footballers and they've played all their lives. They've waited all their lives, some of the players that have never been to the World Cup. It's a dream come true for them. Like a young boy or a young girl who goes to the World Cup finals, you know, the FA Cup final, because in England, the FA Cup final has got a lot of romance and prestige attached to it. And like you hear them on FA Cup final day saying, it's been my lifetime dream to play in the FA Cup final. You know, that you can't take that away from them. It's not fair. It's not fair. But what's happening in those countries is not fair. It's not fair on anybody, women, men who are gay, you know, women not given any human rights whatsoever. I don't know. It's just, I love football, Dermot. I can't not watch it because my passion is football. Everybody knows that. But my passion is also for those people that lost their lives as well. But I don't know. It's just so difficult, Dermot, to. Maybe I'll just. You can't go in. You can't go in it half-hearted. You either go in it full and you watch the whole lot. Because if you just watch half of it, what's the point? You're half-hearted.
I'm like, I'm like you, Ellie. I will be watching the World Cup, and that makes me a hypocrite for what we're saying tonight. But it's because I love football, and I love the World Cup. I love the World Cup about it.
It's romantic, isn't it?
And this was done in November. Yeah, and 21 people voted in this poll. It was done over a day, 24-hour period. And the question was, will you be watching the World Cup? 67% says, 33% said no. So,
yeah,
I mean,
just a third said no.
You give a fan watching the World Cup. Yeah. Philip, will you be watching the World Cup? Yes, why?
I would normally watch every single game in the World Cup. I wouldn't leave the house. I'd be there goggle-eyed watching it. This time I'm going to be a bit more selective. I'm going to watch the first few games, right? And I'm going to watch what goes on and listen to what's going on in the country, whether there's fans being arrested for immoral behavior, drinking pints or whatever. And then I will, if that happens, then I will selectively watch games, but I'm not going to watch them all. I'm going to watch some of them. Like, I'm not going to watch like the opening game, Christ, because you got a worse game, Qatar versus Ecuador. You know, it's like a backstreet kickabout. No disrespect to Ecuador, but first game of the World Cup, you like to have France versus Italy or Germany or someone like that, you know. So it's not a great game. I watch some of it, but I won't be watching all of it. Yeah, I'm gonna be like the poll, 67%, 33%.
But even those Ecuadorian footballers, their dream.
Oh, I know. I'm not disrespectful.
I'm not putting them down. I'm not putting you down by saying that, Philip. Sorry. I mean, those Ecuadorian footballers, they dreamed all their lives to play, and they probably get knocked out. But they've grown up as little boys playing football, and it's like it's going to open their eyes, isn't it? They're arriving with players all around the world, the best 26 players from each country. And they're in it. They're not in it to win it. They're in it to experience it.
I suppose the fact that we're not going to know what the World Cup can do. We're not going to know any of the players' names. It's going to be, that's what I'm saying. I'm not knocking the two teams. It's just a pity it's the first game.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, they've probably done it for a reason. To see how many people
the home team always plays the first match, and happened to be Ecuador were the first ones that were drawn out. So.
Yeah.
Isn't it always the world champions playing the first game of the World Cup?
No.
It was, wasn't it? It always used to be. Like,
I remember
did in 1990.
England played the first game. England
they
played
should
the first
really
game.
let the world champions open it, though, shouldn't they? Like France are the world champions, so they should really open it.
Yeah.
But see, the fact that there's 32 teams in this
World Cup. It was France in 2000. Yeah.
Changed the rules.
Argentina opened the 1990. Argentina opened the 1990 World Cup. Germany opened the 1994 World Cup. I forget. Scotland and Brazil opened the 98 World Cup.
They've obviously changed.
And then France, and then France, then in 2002, when they lost to. Or they lost to Senegal or some team like that. But anyway, look, got a few more questions before we end. Ellie, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Always ladies first. You always have to be polite and be gentlemen. It's always ladies first. This is more or less a yes or no question. And then I've got one question in my head, which I really want to ask you too. So yes or no, do you trust FIFA and UEFA? And why?
Categorically, no.
So yes,
No,
why? No, why? Huh?
No, because of their history and because of all the misdemeanors they've done and all the stealing and the backhanders. No, why would I trust them? They've got a reputation for being fraudulent and being scandalous and stealing money off the game when it could go to the grassroots of football, you know, and feed the money back into. Why should I trust them? No, sorry, no, they're not getting my vote. They're getting exiled. That's what they're getting.
Can I,
Before
there's another
you,
part
Philip,
to that
do you
question
trust
I
FIFA?
should answer. Gianni Infantino. Now, I asked this question last night on this way. Do you know where Gianni Infantino lives? Mr. Infantino, who's now the general secretary of the
you've got me. I couldn't find the answer, so I've been trying you to tell me this question. What's the answer to it?
Since October 21, he's been living in Qatar.
Right.
He moved out to Qatar. He rents a house there, right? His kids are going to school there. And Sepp Blatter has gone on record as saying this is a start of moving the whole FIFA entourage from Zurich to Qatar. Now, I don't believe that's ever going to happen. But like, you try and tell me that he's moving to the country that's had so much controversy about having the World Cup. He's only looking for trouble doing things like that, you know. But they are now.
It's amazing. Like, you couldn't write it. You couldn't write it, could you? You couldn't write it.
Well, and by the way, do you know what the salary for the general secretary of FIFA is? And this was in 2015. 2015, it was £2.5 million per year.
2.5. Well, that's a good point.
It's probably gone up since that, you know.
There's people struggling in England paying their electric and gas bills.
And one thing I say about Infantino, he hasn't got any controversy attached to him at the minute. But we'll see, does that stay? Well, living in Qatar, he's leaving himself wide open for the fact that he's in the pocket of the regime out there, you know?
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't trust FIFA and I trust UEFA less. Because look at the way UEFA dealt with some of the issues back in the 80s with fan violence, especially Liverpool fan causing the Hazel Stadium. What did they do? They didn't just ban Liverpool, they banned every British club out of Europe for 6 years. Totally uncalled for. So, you know,
to be fair, Philip, to be fair, look, Philip, I agree. Weren't the every English, even the England fans going abroad were at it, and I know.
Oh, I know that. I'm only saying that they banned them because of this one particular match.
I sort of fantasy.
You know, the English fans are a disgrace. Pardon me for saying that, but some of the English fans do not know how to behave when they go abroad. And that's why I think there's going to be trouble in Qatar. Because you can't put new spots on a leopard. They're going to do the same thing out there without thinking what's going to happen to them, you know?
No.
And that's a bit radical, but I'd hate to see an England fan arrested for doing what he get away with anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going back years, I was a kid. I went to England versus Ireland years ago. And England and Ireland's always been a bit tenchy. It's gone before. They were chucking bottles of urine at us. And I was only a young time.
Was this Lansdowne Road?
This Irish fan had a bright idea. He decided... No, this is at Wembley. Oh, Wembley.
Oh, okay.
This is back in '92 when Big Jack was in charge. And you can talk. We'll talk about Lansdowne Road anyway. This Irish fan had a bright spark. Bottles of urine on us, all match, all first half. And then suddenly, this one chucked a bottle, whatever, back at the. Well, you've never seen them scattered so quick in all my life. It was so funny. But look, you can say the English, but you can say the Dutch, the Germans, the Italians. Every nation has its own hooligan problems.
Yeah.
It's a subject in a later show.
Yeah, we should do.
It's something
But,
we'll go on to. Yeah,
my point over the
I just want to move it on. Yeah, go on, Philip.
I was just going to say, my final point on the UEFA thing was that that ban of the English fans for 5 or 6 years was purely down to the antics of one club. It wasn't the England fans abroad, it was Liverpool. Why did make the rest of us suffer because of that? You know, Spurs lost out and playing in Europe. That's we finished third in the league that year, and we're suddenly gone. So, you know, I still have sore points about that. So I don't trust either of them, but I'm willing to give Infantino a chance and see how this goes. But I have a feeling it's not going to go well for him.
Yeah. Ellie, are you there? Ellie? I don't know if Ellie's there or not. We'll wait for Ellie to come back. Philip, look, I've got one more question here, and your depth of knowledge, and I want to get Ellie's answer on this. I'm sure she's got a few. I want to end the show in a little bit of on a better note than how the show's been going. What is your best World Cup game or player you remember during the World Cup?
Oh boy, God, that's a tough one. I wish I had a bit of time to think about that one.
Well, you can do. You can have a think about it. Then we can have a think about that, Philip, and then we'll go to this one here because this is the one that I wanted to start off on. Right? No, that's not it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh yeah. Here we go. What should FIFA stand for? This was a funny one. So I'm looking for the chat to come in this as well.
What the bleeper out you have?
FIFA is actually called Football International Football. It's Federation International Football Association. That's what FIFA stands for. But what if you could think of a new name for FIFA? What would you put in it as FIFA?
I'm going to invoke the Father Ted word here. I'm going to say financially, it's feckin' loss-wise.
Ellie, look, we're having a bit of fun now, okay?
But I'm going to do.
Put in charge.
I'm going to do what you say. You know when you say thickers, imbeciles, thickers, and arsehole.
I'm going to go for feckin' International Association. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
We had to have a good laugh at that. I want to see what people are. Then, right, Ellie, I start.
Yeah.
Because I give Philip time. And
I don't need any time.
We've been
I don't need any time. One player from the World Cup. You want me to pick one player? What is your
best World Cup? No, hang on, Ellie. Let me read the question.
Okay.
Let me read the question for you. What is your best World Cup game? That meant to be and. Sorry, I meant to put and in there, not or. What is your best World Cup game and player you remember? I let you go first, then Philip. I will go last because I know what I'm going to pick. You go first, and if you need a bit of time, go to Philip. If Philip needs a bit of time, I'll start off. So, do you need a bit of time, or have you got it?
No, I've got it. I would choose. I would actually choose the World Cup final, England-Germany, because although I was only 4, I remember the euphoria in my house. Yeah, and like when Jeff Hurst scored, they think it's all over. It is now. You know. It's an amazing feeling, and I just remember the street parties as a 4-year-old kid. Lots of cake, lots of sweets, which you weren't allowed to have because your mum said you rot your teeth, you know. And the euphoria in the country when England wins something, it's like they go into like this an amazing union, right? And there was flags everywhere. Like for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, you know, it never died down. And it raises a nation, you know, and I just saw this whole nation bonding through football, you know, and obviously later on when I became a little bit older, it dawned on me because remember I wasn't even 4, I was like 3 3/4. when they won, because I ran it in June, didn't they? 1966. And I wasn't going to be 4 until November.
Yeah.
So, but I just remember my dad being so happy because when he came to England, he's got English roots as well, my dad. But the thing is, when he came to England, he settled in England and he became an Englishman, if you know what I mean. Not in the true sense of an Englishman, because there was always that feeling that he didn't quite get accepted as an Englishman in some quarters. But when the World Cup started and they won the World Cup, England won the World Cup, it was like a bond with foreign people as well that come to this country, and they're all supporting, and there's that camaraderie, you know. But not the most telling thing is just that bond. You know, it unites a nation, and football's got that power. Yeah. And it's romantic as well.
I got me game.
Yeah. It is.
No.
Philip, before I go to you, I saw this from Mark Newham. Big up, Mark Newham, because we all know
I
you
love
from
Martin.
the Irish Hospital. And Ellie
Yeah.
said what he said. He said it's too expensive for one nation to host a Middle East World Cup. Should have been shared with Egypt, Israel, and Jordan to promote peace. That is a very, very good point.
Very good
Do you agree?
idea.
Would England
Yes.
be allowed to share the World Cup with Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and the Republic? Look, very quickly, we are looking to get the 2028 European Championships with England. So we're hoping that will settle in the Republic and in the North as well as England. I think that's a very good point. Any World Cup should. We had Japan, South Korea, and Japan. We had. I think big tournaments now should be put around to 2 or 3 different nations should host the World Cup. So, Mark New, I agree with that 100%. Sorry, Philip, you wanted to say something. I didn't mean to. I
agree with that comment Mark made there. It shares it out financially as well, which means the profits are shared around as well. So everybody gets a bob out of it. So it's a good point. Now, 4 countries might be too many, but I think 2 to 3 anyway, you know. Now, the best World Cup game, 1990. Remember that one? Romania versus Republic of Ireland, 25th of June, 1990. David O'Leary scores the penalty that wins, gets us through, and the country went absolutely mad. Actually, we were away on holidays in Wales.
Philip, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Yeah. When David O'Leary went up to took that penalty, I hid under the duvet. I literally got under the duvet and hid. Well, I did not miss it. Hid.
I tell you, we were at one of these camps in Wales, in North Wales, with the kids, one of these Butlins type things, and the match was on TV, and the place was full of Irish, right? And everybody was round the TV sets in the bar watching the game. And when the penalty went in, the place descended into absolute chaos. There was guys jumping up on tables, kissing the woman next to them. It was just pure abandon. And I always remember this poor bar manager who probably feared for his job. Was going, please, get down off the tables. You'll get me sacked. After about 2 minutes, fuck it. He gave up, And then we came back to Dublin the next night when the team was the night the team was coming home. And the crowds in the streets, and I mean, the country shut down for a week after that game,
Yeah. So that's what football can do for you. Yeah. It unites a nation, and you're all one people anyway. But it's like you become one big family in the street celebrating it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I hid under the duvet during that game, that penalty shootout. God bless Packy Bonner. For me, he is my hero. Beating Italy in the quarterfinals, to be fair, he outplayed Italy, and it was only a lucky Scalacci goal that he got the bugger.
I know. Packy Bonner.
For me, the best. Well,
you there? Yeah.
You there,
I've been
Dermot?
Go
Is
on,
it
Philip.
broken?
I used to know one of his sisters. 3 of his sisters lived about 2 miles from where I used to live. So,
What, Paddy Potter?
Jackie Bonner, yeah, he's still a hero
Yeah.
over there. He's still a
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah.
It's a
Two
shame.
best World
it's a
Cup
shame
games for
Pat
me, of
Jennings-
course, Italy, Ireland versus.
You're breaking up there, Dennis.
For me, 2 best World
Yeah.
Cup games for me. No, I'm fine. Actually, my internet's fine. It's you two that's actually breaking up.
Yeah,
I-
funny,
I-
you're the
I-
only one that's coming through.
We're
I
seeing
don't
you
know.
break up. We're seeing you break up only though, Dermot.
Yeah.
Like
Anyway,
you're
go on.
frozen.
Yeah.
All right, now you're
Yeah.
moving. You freeze and then you move.
Mm.
We've got a frozen Dermot, then a
No,
default.
I've
Yeah, mine's fine
I've
tonight for some
actually
reason.
plugged in
Oh.
to the internet directly. Yeah, it's very bad weather
Yeah.
here, and we get heavy rain and wind here. Best World Cup game for me, I've got 2. England versus Ireland Cup, when Kevin Sheedy scored the equaliser after Gary
I
Lineker
remember that. I remember
scored
that game.
scored the first goal in our first game in that group. And the second best game was Ireland versus Italy, the giant state in America, 1994 World Cup. Ray Houghton with that beautiful overhead kick, a beautiful volley over the top of the goal off Boone, I think. Carl Simpson's at it again.
Yeah.
Carl isn't playing. Dermot is playing you. He hasn't frozen. He's just staying still to fool you.
Yeah. Hey, you know
Look,
Ray
the World Cup.
Ray Houghton. I was going to say Ray Houghton, right? He played for Oxford United, I believe, and I think I went to the QPR game with my husband, and Oxford United beat Oxford United beat QPR 3-0 in that final, and my husband was very upset, and he promptly got transferred to Liverpool, didn't he? Because they snapped him up. There was another player who played for Oxford, the striker, who went
John
to
Aldridge.
Liverpool as
John
well.
Aldridge.
John Aldridge.
That's it, John Aldridge. He was a decent player.
There's a
Yeah.
There's a
where are
funny
we?
story behind that. Jack Charlton went to Oxford to get Ray Houghton to play for Ireland, and instead of coming away with one player, come up with John Aldridge as well. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the FAI, another Irishman.
Just both up.
Union.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've got an Irish grandmother, you're
Belgium
playing
versus
for
the
Ireland.
Soviet Union.
Yeah, I remember that.
Belgium versus Soviet Union in Mexico, 1986. All trees, a great game. Igor Balenchov hat trick.
Wow. Mm.
Mark New put here game I've seen: Italian 90 semi-final, England versus Germany. Gaza tears, the nation cried.
Oh, that's so sad, man.
Yeah.
And he realised he didn't make
for
the
me. There was
final.
another one here. For me, this is the greatest World Cup match ever played. Brazil versus Italy, 1982.
Brilliant game.
But look, we're going to leave it on the thing that the greatest ever to grace the World Cup is Diego Maradona for his lovely goal he scored against England. I'm not talking about the first one, which wasn't handball, by the way, to everyone's amazement. It just came off his curly hair. It was actually his second goal. For me, that is still the greatest goal scored by anybody in the World Cup. And apparently Gary Lineker said the grass was just coming away from him. But look, Ellie, Philip, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I've had a gas doing it. It's been a really good show.
I love the World Cup.
We've tried to push the boundaries, and I think we need to do more of these debate shows that push the boundaries of what people should. YouTube should be.
Look at that.
YouTube should be.
George Best.
Yeah, Georgie
George
Best.
Best, the great Irishman.
Northern Irish now.
This is the one I'm gonna. This is the one, Terry Venables' Football Heroes. I'm giving this away. It's been dear to my heart, this book, because I love it because it's got fantastic pictures in it. of all his favourite players.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give this
Ellie,
one away.
When can people start? Yeah. When can people start bidding for the books,
They
for our books and the programs that we're going to auction?
Anybody wants to bid for this book? Yeah. And then I've got the Harry Redknapp book that I'm going to. Where is that one? Somewhere. Here it is. The Harry Red book, the biography by Les Rupanarin. There you go. And that Harry Redknapp's a character. That's worth having. That's a very good read as well. And it covers a lot of controversies as well in his career.
Yeah. And then I will be putting up for auction my FIFA World Cup book, The History of the FIFA World Cup. That will be going up for auction. Philip will be auctioning himself for an over 70s day with the bingo. He will be taking to the bingo. Get your numbers out every Wednesday night. So watch that out. Do you
that
know
looks
what,
like
we need
Hotspur, but it's actually
stop bringing
England.
Irish. We need to stop.
You can see Jimmy Greaves there. Can you see him? That looks like England. That's like Spurs colours, blue and white, but that's England. You can see Jimmy Greaves right at the end. Yeah. Where is he?
Carl
He's right
Simpson
there.
is put Levy's.
Come on, Jimmy Greaves.
Yeah. Carl Simpson says Levy's involved as well, guys. He's offered dinner for two with Daniel. There you go.
You know what?
We're doing the charity stream. We've raised €85. We've raised €85 so far on the way to 1,000. We've got a long way to go. Me, Ellie, Philip, and we'll be doing the 12-hour. Philip and Ellie will be jumping in and out. I'm doing the full 12-hour stint, and then with other people coming on, Ellie, I think, and Philip will be on most of the time.
Yeah,
we're going to build up to the World Cup with the World Cup memories. We've got to do other stuff as well on it. So we're going to have a blast doing it to raise money for ASIM.ie for children with ASD and ADHD. It's something very close to my heart. So look, we're looking to raise money. We won't be back tomorrow. We're having 2 days off. We're having a bit of a rest, me and Ellie and Philip, and then we're back we're back Friday morning at 12 with Newsbeat, and then we're back Friday evening with the family. Why we're not here Thursday? I'm going to the Island game on Thursday, so that Wednesday we're having a few days off just to recharge our batteries. It's been a long first half of the season. We've done a lot of content, so we're just taking a few days off. We're back for a 12-hour stream on Saturday. And then we will be doing then we're going into World Cup mode. We'll be covering matches. We'll be doing watch along to certain matches. We'll be doing World Cup debates. We'll be doing the World Cup roundup. Me and Ellie and Philip, or Philip and Ellie on the games. What we've seen, there'll be a daily show where they'll get our thoughts on the games that have been played and just keep everyone till we get back to the Premier League on St. Stephen's Day over here, which is Boxing Day for the people in the UK. Ellie, we've done a brilliant show. Thank you so much.
Really
I've really enjoyed it.
That's back next Monday. This one's been brilliant. 12.
Philip's back. You're back with us again on Friday, Philip, with Newsbeat and
all been well. Yeah, all been well. Yeah, providing I'm not get a relapse or something.
All been well, and you've got your daughters. Yeah, and then you've got your daughter's christening on Saturday.
Saturday, so I'll be in and out. I'll be more available later in the day, you know. So
I'm going out.
We'll be here, but listen,
I'm going out with my family on Sunday to celebrate my 60th birthday. But it's the following week I'm looking forward to as well when I come over to Dublin on the 29th, and it's me and my husband Theo. Yeah, he's excited as well because he wants to obviously drink and not drive because he's usually you can only have one or a little bit more, you know, and then you can't drink anymore. So he's going to let his hair down, literally. He's looking forward to the beer boys.
A live show. Yeah, we will be doing a live show from an Irish pub.
That'd be
on the Tuesday we will be doing a live show.
With the Irish pub, that's all he is. He's going to be there.
And look, we're
Might get a bit
going
noisy.
to have a lot that has been warned. Ellie is
Yeah.
in town. Yeah. Ellie is in town. Dublin's been warned. Listen, thank you all for watching.
You better put out the blue and white carpet, not the red carpet.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, lads. See you same Friday.
See ya. Peace out.
I'm sorry. That's it. I'm getting. Hang on, she's gone. Do you know that's it? Ellie, are you singing this out? Are you singing this out for something special tonight?
Maybe. My name is McNamara. My name is McNamara. Do you want me to sing that? My name is McNamara. Okay. I'm the leader of the band.
Let me put. Hang on, Ellie. Hang on. Let me put you in solo. Hang on. There you go. You go.
Right. Let me get the words up because I don't know the words up. Let me get the words up because I know most of it. Right. So, oh, my name is McNamara. I'm the leader of the band. Oh, we're few in numbers, we're the finest in the land. We play at wakes and weddings and every fancy ball. And when we play the funerals, we play the march from Saul. La 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 la. Cut. Yeah.
Good night. Yeah, there you go. Good night, everyone. There you go.